Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plots. I know of no reason the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and in this episode we are talking about the arrival of V for Vendetta on the 4K Ultra HD format. This is the brand new 4K Blu-ray digital combo pack, releasing everywhere on November 3rd, 2020. What an interesting release date. This is a charged movie. It brings out tons of opinions. In fact, I have to let you know before we go any further that Warner Brothers Home Entertainment provided me with a free copy of this. The opinions expressed are my own. Those opinions, you guys, the V for Vendetta engenders opinions. It's got tons of commentary on it's got political commentary, it has societal commentary, but it's all presented in this comic book package that really makes it more palatable. I'm walking a tightrope here because I think this movie has messages, but I also recognize that this movie means different things to different people. And I think that that's by design. I think this movie is the story. It's not just a movie. The story of V for Vendetta is by design, sort of a Rorschach test. And that's not a coincidence, speaking of Rorschach. So this story goes back to the 80s. This was a comic book. It started life as a comic book written by Alan Moore. Now, Alan Moore is the legendary, dare I say, writer behind Watchmen. And there's a character in Watchmen called Rorschach. Alan Moore builds these characters and puts them in situations that are not easily sided. It's hard to say, well, this is right, this is wrong. The stories are about people. They're about the fallacies of people, the ideologies of people, and ideologies are not easy to put into a box. And I think that's one of the strong appeals of V for Vendetta. And I think that all of that translates to the final film version. And I gotta tell you, this movie was released in 2006. I saw it in theaters in 2006. It has aged like fine wine. I dare say it's never been more relevant than it is now. Again, this is not, it's that tightrope. I think it's going to be easy for some people to look at this and say, there's this agenda that's being pushed. There's this agenda that's being pushed. I think this movie transcends agendas. I think this movie is about people. And this movie talks about, I mean, listen, this goes back to the 80s. This is not new, but you would think that it was ripped from the world we live in right now. There's talk about epidemics. There's talk about viruses that wipe out thousands and thousands of people. There's distrust of the government. Those all sound like very relevant themes to the world we're living in right now. But here's the thing. V for Vendetta does not introduce, it does not create those concepts. Those concepts have been with us forever. We look at movies, 12 Monkeys, the same thing. You know what I'm talking about? We can chase it back even further. We're talking about the 80s. This story originated in the 80s. We could go back to the work of Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. We could do George Orwell, 1984. We could do Metropolis, the film about a dystopian future, about the societal divide between the haves and the have-nots. These are not new ideas, but they're packaged in a way that feels incredibly fresh. They feel incredibly relevant to the world we're living in right now. I gotta tell you, it's astonishing how relevant this movie feels. One of the new special features on this 4K is this was written by the Wachowskis, the people behind The Matrix. And it was directed by James McTeague, and one of the special features here is Lana Wachowski talking to James McTeague, the director, sort of looking back at, you know, it's been 15 years as I record this video and as this is released, but it's so interesting how these themes do not go away. These themes remain with us. They remain relevant over time. And so seeing how certain things resonate. You know, I saw this in the theater I saw this in the theater in 2006, and it felt like it was ripped from the headlines then, just as it felt like it was ripped from the headlines in the 80s. So I think that it's just a nice reminder as some of, you know, there's a line in the movie, I'm perhaps paraphrasing this line, but it's essentially, the line is, artists tell lies to show us the truth. Meaning, you tell a fictional story to show how things really are. That's what artists do. That's what this movie does. That's what good dystopian fiction does, is it shows us through a lie it shows the truth through a lie. It creates a fiction, but through that fiction, it's what Star Trek did. You know, it's what all these things are able to do. You take something and you shift it just a little bit away, and we can see reality for what it is by looking through a little bit of a lie. And V for Vendetta does a remarkable job at doing that. Did anyone else notice the lights flicker? Am I being shut down? It's the dystopian future come to life, you guys. Let's talk about the 4K on this. This looks absolutely gorgeous. As with all 4Ks that are sourced from film elements, it looks like film. That's what it should look like. There should not be a liberal use of DNR, of digital noise reduction. Things should not be smoothed. This has beautiful grain, nice fine grain structure. The colors, this is not a particularly colorful movie. There's a lot of blacks, as you can see from the cover here. You know, let's do this. This is reflective. We also have this. There's a lot of blacks and a lot of reds throughout the movie. The reds look incredibly stunning, very saturated, very vivid, but it's not like a super bright movie. There are some bright scenes. Those look absolutely gorgeous, but there's an increased depth. There's an increased level of detail. If you're wondering if this is worth the upgrade, yes, it is absolutely worth the upgrade. This movie has never looked better. Again, I saw it in theaters in 2006. There were things that plagued, you know, when you see a movie on film projected onto a big screen, you're going to have like the elements, the film, you know, the dirt that gets into the frame. This is like day one, first print, first run, first showing, first night of a theater. It's never looked better than it looks here. I can't imagine V for Vendetta ever looking any better than it does here. So I love it. Sound is great. It's just it's a beautiful movie thematically. It's a beautiful movie visually, and even the soundscape. It's just the music, the classical music, the use of the music in the story. Everything is incredibly well done here. There are 3 new special features on this 4K edition. There's that conversation I was telling you about, Lana Wachowski and James McTeague in conversation, looking back on V for Vendetta. Natalie Portman's audition. We have her original audition. It's 3 scenes, I believe, where she's talking, she's performing these scenes. So they show us the audition footage of her acting these scenes, and then they show us the final film version. So you get to compare her audition to the actual final theatrical performance, which is, it's a nice addition. I have to be careful with this because, see, I don't want to know too much. I know we live in a world where everyone wants to know everything. They want to see every deleted scene. I do enjoy auditions, but I also think that the movie itself tells the final story. So I appreciate these Natalie Portman auditions. I watched them. I don't know that I'm going to go back to them because that performance lives on that screen. That performance lives opposite V. It lives opposite Hugo Weaving. By the way, Hugo Weaving, incredible. It's a tour de force from Elrond from The Lord of the Rings, and Mr. Anderson, that guy from The Matrix, the agent from The Matrix. He's so wonderful. He gets to do all sorts of different accents and crazy dress him ups, crazy, you know, gets to be other characters and stuff. He's wonderful in this as well. The last new extra is V for Vendetta Unmasked making of with filmmakers and cast. From what I can tell, this is not brand new shot footage. This relies on a lot of footage that was shot during the initial 2006 press stuff for this, but I don't think this has ever been released before. Maybe someone else can tell me if this particular documentary, this V for Vendetta Unmasked, has had a prior, if it had a digital release, if it comes from somewhere else. I don't know that it was created exclusively for this, but perhaps it was. Either way, it's a welcome addition, getting to see some of the people behind the making of the movie talking about it through both. Some of the footage is modern. Some of it is very clearly like modern HD footage, but a lot of it is like circa 2006, 2005, 2006. So those are our 3 new extras. The Blu-ray itself, by the way, here's the digital code here. I'm going to put this over here so that no one takes that code. Here's the 4K. The Blu-ray that accompanies this it's the 2008, I think that was the year 2008 Blu-ray release of this. So it's not a new pressing of the Blu-ray. Therefore, it does not have those new special features, and it does not have any sort of a new color timing, no new color palette, no sweetening. It's the 2008 Blu-ray. So, you know, you're looking at a 12-year-old transfer, but for the point is, all those special features from that Blu-ray, they're still here because you get the Blu-ray special features carried over. It's a really wonderful upgrade. I think the price for this is $24.99, which of course you're going to be able to find that cheaper from most retailers, and I think it's a no-brainer. I think that it's a powerful movie. Again, I don't think this is a movie that's pushing one political party or one particular agenda. I think this is a movie that says, hey, the power of your future, of your government, the power of your leadership lies with you. And this being released on September 3rd, Election Day, I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think it's Warner Brothers pushing a left-wing or a right-wing agenda before anybody starts commenting on that. I think it's just a reminder that, hey, regardless of who you're voting for, you need to make your voice heard, and you need to stand up for what you believe. You need to put your voice out there. It's the people. Governments, that's my takeaway from this movie, and it's the same takeaway for 1984, Brave New World, all the stuff that I've mentioned, even 12 Monkeys. This is our story. It's not this, we put power, the power that we invest in other people, that's nothing compared to the power that we ourselves embody. And this is a reminder of many things, of how revenge can corrupt, of how ideologies can be twisted, but also of the purity of the human soul. I mean, listen, there's a lot of stuff in here. And again, it's that Rorschach test. Beautiful movie. Never looked more beautiful on disc than it does right here. Heartily recommend. I think V for Vendetta is a must buy. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thanks to Warner Brothers for sending this my way. It's been an absolute joy to cover it, and a reminder. I gotta tell you, when I finish this movie, this is certainly not, again, I've seen this movie many times over the years, several times over the years, and it hit me so totally different today. Modern times watching it now. It's like, what a powerful film. What a powerful, relevant reminder of our power and of how much we matter, how much people matter. Can't recommend it enough. Guys, thanks so much. Take care. And until next time, I will catch you later.